because I haven't read any of the book tonight. I read it sometimes, and I was on Jonathan Ross's show last night with Priscilla Presley, and that's not something I ever thought I would say. And they brought out a guitar that belonged to Elvis Presley. He was a singer from Memphis. It was a beautiful 1956, this is something you don't see in my reading glasses, and it was a beautiful 1956 J200 that had Elvis's name down the neck, which was, of course, that was a move, or a shape as we say, that I stole the minute I made a little bit of money. I had my name put up the neck and laid on my neck, which was handy a couple of nights when I forgot who I was. But of course people, including Jonathan twice last night, asked me about my name. And I just thought before I sing the next song, I just read this little bit, this little story for you. Mama May Axton walked me to the end of the gymnasium locker room, linking her arm through mine. The writer of Heartbreak Hotel turned her powdered cheek and most confidential face to me with the scent of magnolia and peppermints. When you first came to America, the king put on a disguise and came to see you play. He wanted to check you out. If I broke eye contact at all, it was to glance over May's shoulder in an appeal to my bandmates at the time. They were billed as Elvis Costello and his confederates, among them James Burton and Jerry Sheff, who had actually played with Elvis Presley. 10 years earlier, when I'd first arrived in America, Elvis Presley had already been dead for 3 months. So if the king had put on a disguise to attend my show, it truly would have been an exceptional occurrence. It wasn't very easy to know how to react to this statement. May obviously intended to pay me a compliment, and I wasn't about to be disrespectful or correct her on the history, so I nodded gravely without asking the obvious question. What did he think of the show? The night before Elvis Presley died, we had played Swindon at the Affair. Within a couple of days, the phone was ringing off the hook at Stiff Records. The awful news from Memphis travelled around the world a little slower then, but it didn't take long for the television stations to start looking for new ways to extend the life of the story. Hey, here's a guy in England called Elvis, let's do a story on him. The decision to adopt the Elvis name had always seemed like a mad dare, a stunt conceived by my managers to grab people's attention long enough for the songs to penetrate, as my good looks and animal magnetism were not going to do the job for me. There were certainly people on the scene with more oxymoronic names than mine, but now there was a man on the telephone from America asking him if I had agreed to be interviewed about my alias, offering a little free publicity if we'd help them squeeze a little bit more novelty juice out of a tale that was already out of genuine tears. The research assistant was sent away with a flea in his ear, chastised for selling souvenirs at the graveside. But for all the bravado at Stiff Records HQ, there was a brief moment of doubt as to whether my flip and daredevil alias could actually survive while people were mounting candlelight vigils. What would be the alternative? Adopt another taboo identity that sounded similar and spoken at speed and didn't mess too much with the typography? Otis? Jesus? Well, obviously that would be a little too loaded. It was too late to turn back now. We had a show to play in Dudley.